Hi, thank you for visiting my channel. Today I plan to film a very short vlog where I mostly will be putting in order my Rosa watercolors. If you are not familiar, Rosa Gallery is a Ukrainian brand of professional quality art supplies. They do watercolor paints, oil paints, acrylic, gouache paints, brushes and paper. So when I started my collection, I had one box. Here you can see the beginning of my Rosa Gallery collection, and everything was in order. Even if I have a couple of additional pens, still everything in this one I can easily use. I have a nice swatch card so I can find necessary colors and I use them very often. There are some very lovely colors which I absolutely love, like this quinacridone gold or cobalt turquoise or black green. So here everything is great, but of course Rosa Gallery continued to manufacture new colors to expand their color range. And of course I wanted to support them, especially because they are so brave. They continue to do new products during war time. And now when they made many more new colors, I realized that even if I purchased them and I even did some swatches, inside of my next metal case there is a total mess. So when I need to find something, it's a problem. And of course the final push was purchase of several new watercolor paints. So I need to swatch them. I need to rearrange the mess in this case. I hope that you are not very nervous. Just look at this awful box. I even hadn't attached them to the box completely. Well, that's a shame. That's a box of shame. But I hope that until the end of this video I will have nice order and it will be much easier for me to use them. I suppose that in this box I have these colors. Some of them have interesting granulation. I especially love this golden brown, this jade green, and from this range I love carbon red and I love carbon yellow. And actually the most frequently I use this cobalt brown. It's perfect when you need to create desert texture, very lovely granulation. Well, that's task number one, finally to do one swatch for this box, to swatch new colors, and in such way it will be easier to use them. And my second task for today, to look again at all my granulating watercolors. Apart from Rosa Gallery, I have granulating watercolors by Roman Szmal and also a couple of Daniel Smith colors. That's all I have. And my Schminke granulation watercolors. So I want to look at them and to select colors for my 3 possible new projects. We will discuss it in the end of the video. I will show you books where I want to do watercolor background. I will tell you about my coloring ideas, coloring plans, and we will try to find, can I use something from this palette, and maybe it will be an interesting watercolor color along. First, let's open and let's swatch new colors. Recently, Rosa has changed their brand color, their design. Honestly, I preferred the previous one. Now we have everything in red. I don't mind to have red color, it's lovely. I just don't like this package of watercolor pens. For previous package, we had name and number on the top part, which you obviously delete when you open it, but also on the side we have the same number, name. On the opposite side we have info about opacity, about granulation, about pigments, so everything you need to keep. And unfortunately now on the new package we have info about pigment, but on the other side no name. So how I supposed to know what exactly I have here? Well, back to old technique with permanent marker. For me, it's definitely a disadvantage. Maybe I am stupid, but no. No colors, color name on the side. For me, it's not a great thing. So I have just one new, and the rest it's with the old design still. And honestly, this the only thing which I dislike in Rosa watercolor, it's when you need to open them. I need to delete this upper part and to keep this precious info on the sides. I hope that I will manage to do it, and then I will add it to the swatch. Yes, it looks very stupid that I have several swatches, but that's okay. I put it into my big box with all swatches. I just want to rearrange all of them and to put inside of the metal box. And you can see that I still have some space for the new colors. I am sure that very soon they will do something new, some new lovely colors, and of course I will be happy to purchase them. Well, I want to start from this palest color, from pale lilac. You know that I love such colors, so it definitely will go into my favorites. So it's not granulating and it's semi-opaque because it has a white pigment. Well, perfect. Next, maybe this granulating orange color. It looks perfect for rust. Of course, it's a very small area, so maybe let's try to use it where we can see granulation more clearly. The big problem with granulating watercolors is that you really need textured paper and paper which allows you to use a lot of water. So obviously it's not a thing for coloring books, but I still love them, and I am lucky to have at least several books where paper is good and where I can use them. So I continue to purchase them. Well, we will let it dry, but I already like it. Perfect for interesting rust effect, and maybe just one such color for dramatic background also will look nice. Okay, so what to test next? I have this another granulating color, olive oxide gray. On swatches it looked like dirty weathered grass. So another color which could be used for natural, for landscapes, for natural coloring. Maybe it's not very impressive by itself, but surprisingly it could be very helpful. I already can imagine using it in books like Alena Walls by Kirby Razanes. You can put it as a base and then to add a couple of additional color accents, and you will have this deserted planet, and this base looks quite lovely. Now I also have ultramarine gray. It's also granulating. Oh, this one is lovely. I immediately noticed it when they advertised new collection, so I wanted it maybe the most. Very lovely, and I think that it will be quite interesting to mix it with other colors. It's a granulation with just one color because of the properties of the pigment, so it's not like dual chrome granulation which we have in some of the Daniel Smith, or like dual color granulation which we have here, blue and pink, green and yellow, brown, orange and gray. No, but it's simply lovely, and I'm sure that it will be perfect for watercolor backgrounds. I love this muted, indeed grayish blue tint. This one is similar, it's in the strand gray, but this one I think that I love more. Imagine stormy sky or waves in such color. I think that it's very atmospheric. And the final color, it's Nightfall Azure, so it's also granulating. I call such colors like interesting dirty paints. I'm very curious how this ultramarine gray would behave in mixes. Maybe let's mix it with a little bit of orange. And we can receive very lovely, also textured, granulating brown color. Maybe with more intense red. Oh, that's very lovely. It's similar to Moonglow by Daniel Smith. That's definitely great blend. I think that after this video I will try to mix this ultramarine gray with various red colors which I own. Well, it's interesting, maybe with something more magenta. Also very lovely color. So it has so many possible choices for blends. I'm extremely happy. And well, maybe the last one, the same ultramarine gray and another granulating color which is cobalt brown. I hope that it's cobalt brown. Another interesting color for kind of lunar landscape. It's a warm gray color with a lot of granulation because we have granulating pigment in both paints, and it's another example of dirty but interesting. I just hope that on more smooth paper without such texture I still will be able to get this interesting hue. Again, I can imagine using it for some of the fantasy landscapes as a lunar surface, for example. But of course I am also quite happy to have such mixes. Well, I will continue my experiments later. Now what I need to do is to put all this mess on my table, and I will try to rearrange them. Usually when I put my paints in the metal box, I try to put them at least in some kind of order. Here we don't have any order, but here you can see that I usually start from yellows into oranges, into reds, purple, violet, magenta, then greens, blues, so at least some similar colors I try to put together. So now I will try to check what I have in this box, and I will try to find some kind of order to be able to put it on the new color swatch. I finally finished my swatches. Now I have one metal box with vibrant, clean, cheerful colors and another box with dirty, muted, very atmospheric, but I also love them. That's my kind of paints. So now finally those swatches will go into my folder with all swatches, and this one I will keep in the box, so I will be able to distinguish paints. Without it, it was extremely difficult to say which is one. Now, why I actually thought about my paints? That's because I want to do several watercolor backgrounds, and the first one, it's again Girls by Emmanuel Kalin. I can't say that here paper is exactly watercolor perfect. Not all granulating watercolors behaved here quite well. Sometimes I got those cauliflower stains, but that's okay. For this kind of background, that's normal. And when I thought about my next portrait, this girl, I imagined something inspired by Frida Kahlo. So she will have black hair. Maybe I will add something for color accents, maybe even a little bit of indigo into black, but main color is black. And of course, very dark, bloody red roses. It means I need something for the background. My first thought was to use something like this magenta gray. It's interesting color. From just one watercolor I can get granulation, but now I think that maybe I need something in violet color palette. Maybe I just was inspired by various violet blends which I just achieved. So plenty of interesting violet colors. For example, this one I didn't expect to blend magenta rose and royal green and to achieve such a pleasant pink violet color. So I think that maybe I can base this background using this violet quartz. It's also slightly granulating. If I dilute it, I can get slightly pinkish color, then closer to the sides more intense violet, and if I want to in the corners I can emphasize the darkness using nightfall violet. I think that it will complement the mood of this picture. I don't know, to drop a little bit of lilac, or we don't need it. And it will also be intense but won't attract attention from dark bloody roses. I think that more reddish colors, they can distract attention from roses. So I think that maybe such kind of gradient will work. So I plan to put it like a lighter color closer to the center, darker color on the sides. I hope that it will work. I will let it dry, of course. I don't intend to start it immediately. I just will notice for myself that it's colors which I can use. It's violet quartz and nightfall violet. But I hope that in a day or two I will start this portrait. Next book where I finally want to start coloring is this Dragons by John Hove, and it's a huge book where I definitely need watercolors. I think that the easiest picture is actually the first one. Look at this adorable pair of dragons. And when I imagined colors for this one, I thought about golden dragon with some black or maybe also copper stains, but main color that's gold. Imagine polychromos green gold. And similar colors I would love to use on the eggs, like putting main ivory color and then golden pattern on the eggs. For the contrast, I would do the baby with black and red colors. It means that I need something for the background. So what I have I hope that paper is thick and it will show at least some granulating properties of watercolors. That's my Schminke by their sets, and that's again the same Rosa. I actually think that that's where I can use this carbon red. If you look closer, that's granulation from pink into dark red and almost black. Very visible. PB7, it's oxide black, which actually creates effect of granulation. So that's what I can use. It will look nice with body of the golden mama dragon, and it will have connection with similar colors which I plan to use for the baby dragon. I hope that it will work. So as my first choice for this one, I will remember about this carbon red. Of course, I won't remember. I never remember anything, but fortunately I have my kind of sketchbook where I try to note all my ideas to test color combos for my future project. Actually, very helpful thing where you notice some interesting picture, you immediately think that maybe I can do background in such color. So you notice these ideas, and when you have free time, you can actually browse through your paints, through your pencils. But the first idea, you won't lose it if you already noticed it somewhere. So, very helpful thing. And finally, I remembered, thanks to this book, I remembered about another one printed on great paper where definitely watercolors will behave quite well. That's Dragons by Ravine Phelan, and it's shame to say for how many years I hadn't touched it. I think that maybe for 6 years. Actually, I did just one page here and I stopped. And in the same time, I absolutely adore it. I love to color dragons. Just, I won't be explaining it. There is no explanations at all. But maybe it's finally time. And among all the beautiful dragons, I selected two. My first choice was this one. It's Celtic God of Dragons. When I looked at this one, maybe I was inspired by the oak leaves, and I also imagined dragons in olive green earthy colors. That's the first dragon. Let me put some bookmark. But dragon which is a little bit more interesting, that's the second one, which is called Dragon of Patience. When I looked at this one, somehow Dragon of Patience I imagined only in blue colors. My idea is phthalo blue colors from Polychromos. You know, this slightly colder, vibrant blue paired with something darker like Prussian blue. And of course I plan to use it as a base, and then I can outline each of the scales using silver or pearl blue watercolor. I definitely will try to use here also pearl watercolor. So what we need to imagine, it's in the center we have something vibrant blue. It means that we need to find something which could create a lovely contrast background. This time I would love to use my schminkes because I own them. I don't use them frequently and they are very demanding to the paper. This paper unfortunately doesn't have texture, but at least it behaves well with water. So maybe I will try one of my favorite colors in this, and it's from Haze or Nebel set. It's called Nebel Rosa. It has very interesting granulation. The base it's gray with barely visible turquoise undertone, and then quite intense burgundy on top of it. I hope that it will work here and that it will create a nice contrast to my future blue dragon. Well, it's not like I am ready to test it on the page which I intend to color, but I can test that Nebula Rose on the title page. Sorry, my brush is dirty. I will put a little bit of watercolor beneath and then paint. Am I sure that that's not exactly the same effect? They are very tricky, those schminke watercolors. I think that my swatch is actually the most beautiful usage of them which I managed to do so far. Okay, we will let it dry and then we will see what I can get. I'm quite curious how pale it will be after drying. It's actually normal for watercolor to be more pale after drying, but I still hope that granulation will be visible. At least I can see it now. Maybe not as turquoise as it was on the swatch, but still already close to it, so it's not bad. And if we imagine kind of this blue dragon, or maybe a slightly different hue, well, I will select which blue color I can find. Maybe I will use Polychromos Helio Turquoise, also very lovely. But I think that it can work with such background area. It's not big here, so probably I don't need to add more colors to create more complicated gradient. We actually have only this part. So I think that I can try to use this one. At least I will use it somewhere, because they are lovely, but, well, very tricky. Wish me luck. I hope that all these pictures which I shown you in this page I will color one day. And about that dragon in earth colors, the second one, which I plan to color in olive green, I think that I can actually try this Tundra Violet. It's another very beautiful. We have warm beige undertone and then very intense violet on top. I think that if dragon will be in olive green, it also can work. So I also will notify this idea. I will use it for my future colorings, because all of these books, they are beautiful, but they are totally abandoned by myself, and that's definitely a very sad thing. Now we have books with a lesser quality, and I color in them, and such beauties, they are sitting on my shelf. I hope that very soon I will do at least one page in each of them. Thank you for watching. I hope that it wasn't very boring. At least I'm crazy happy that now I have nice order in my watercolor boxes. It definitely will help me to create with watercolors more.